Give me just 22 minutes, and I'll show you how to realistically get rich in your 20s. Without crypto, without going viral, and without a trust fund. Look, I'm not going to promise you'll be a millionaire by 25, or that you'll retire at 30. But if you follow these 4 principles that 99% of people in their 20s ignore, you can realistically build serious wealth that puts you decades ahead by the time you hit 30. Okay, here's the thing. That whole go to college, get a good job, save 10% advice, that's what worked for your parents. But let's be real. If you're in your 20s right now and you follow that playbook, you're basically signing up to work until you're 70, and you'll be stressed about money the entire time. I mean, think about it. Everything costs twice as much as it did 20 years ago, but salaries? Yeah, they didn't get that memo. And by the time your 401k actually does something meaningful with compound interest, you'll be too old to enjoy it. Meanwhile, your Instagram feed is full of fake gurus trying to sell you their dropshipping course and 19-year-olds pretending they made millions overnight. It's exhausting. Now, why should you even listen to me? Look, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't have some revolutionary system or secret hack. I just spent years studying people who actually got wealthy in their 20s. And I'm not talking about the lucky ones who bought Bitcoin at $10 or had daddy's trust fund. I'm talking about normal people who followed specific principles and became financially free in their late 20s and 30s. And here's what I realized. What actually works isn't sexy. It's not going to blow up on TikTok. Nobody's going to watch this and think, wow, that's so cool. But you know what? That's exactly why it works. Because while everyone else is chasing the next shiny object, the people following these 4 principles are quietly building real wealth. The best part? You can literally start today. Doesn't matter if you're broke, in debt, or have no idea what you're doing. These principles work regardless. So let's stop wasting time and get into what actually matters. Alright, let's start with something that might piss off everyone over 30. You have a massive unfair advantage right now, and most of you are completely wasting it. See, when you're in your 20s, you have something billionaires would literally pay millions for: time and energy. But everyone gets this wrong. They think time means, I have time to figure it out later. No. Time means you can work 70 hours a week without your body falling apart. Time means you can take massive risks because you have decades to recover if things go sideways. Let me put this in perspective. When I was 23, I could pull all-nighters, work weekends, and still show up Monday ready to go. Now, if I don't get my 7 hours of sleep, I'm useless. That energy difference? That's worth more than any MBA or trust fund. First, you can live like a college student without anyone judging you. Seriously, nobody expects you to have nice things in your 20s. You can have roommates, drive a crappy car, eat ramen. It's socially acceptable. Try doing that at 40 and see how that goes. This means you can save 70% of your income while everyone else is trapped paying for their lifestyle. Second, you're a digital native. While some 45-year-old executive is paying consultants $10,000 to explain TikTok to them, you intuitively understand how the internet works. You grew up with it. That's not a small thing. That's a massive competitive advantage in literally every industry right now. Third, and this is the big one, you can afford to fail. If you start a business at 25 and it crashes and burns, so what? You're 26 with a crazy story and a ton of experience. Try that at 45 with a mortgage and 3 kids. Different game entirely. But what kills me is that most people in their 20s are so worried about looking successful that they waste these advantages. They finance a car they can't afford, get an apartment that eats half their income, and work 40 hours a week at a job they hate because it sounds respectable. Listen to what Alex Hormozi says about this. When you're young, you should normalize 12-hour days, 6 days a week. That's 72 hours. Now look, I know that sounds insane. And honestly, don't take that number too literally. I'm not saying you need to work exactly 72 hours or you'll fail. That's not the point. The point is that when you're in your 20s, you have the capacity to put in way more effort than you will at any other time in your life. Maybe for you that's 50 hours, maybe it's 60. Hell, maybe you can actually do 72. The exact number doesn't matter. What matters is that you're not leaving anything on the table. Because the truth nobody wants to admit is this: success isn't about working smarter or harder. It's about working smarter and harder than everyone else. At least for a few years while you have the energy. And before you tell me about work-life balance, I hear you. I'm not advocating for burning yourself out. I'm advocating for being honest about what it takes to get ahead when you're starting from zero. Balance is important, but there's a time and place for everything. Your 20s might be the time to be a little unbalanced in pursuit of setting yourself up for life. Stop trying to look successful and start building skills. Move back in with your parents if you have to. Get roommates. Drive a 10-year-old Toyota. Every dollar you save is a dollar you can invest in yourself or your business. Use your energy strategically. Don't work 70 hours at a dead-end job. Work 40 hours at your job and 30 hours building something on the side. Or work 70 hours somewhere you're actually learning high-value skills. And please, for the love of God, stop being afraid of judgment. Your friends making fun of you for grinding while they're at the bar? Those won't be your friends in 5 years anyway. The people who matter will respect the hustle. The bottom line is this: you have maybe a 10-year window where you can outwork everyone else without burning out. That window is closing every single day. You can either use it to build something real, or you can waste it trying to impress people who don't matter. Your choice, but if you choose to use it, you need to combine it with the right skills. Which brings us to principle number 2. All right, let's talk about the investment that Wall Street doesn't want you to know about. It has zero risk, unlimited upside, and nobody can ever take it away from you. I'm talking about skills. Now I know what you're thinking. Skills? That's your big secret? Thanks for nothing. But hold on, because most people completely misunderstand how skills actually create wealth. See, everyone's obsessed with passive income, dividends, real estate, and yeah, those are great when you already have money to invest. But when you're starting from zero, skills are the only thing that can take you from broke to 6 figures. Period. Let me prove it to you. Every single millionaire under 30 that I've studied started the same way. They got insanely good at one high-value skill. Not pretty good, not decent, insanely good. Then they leveraged that skill into money, and only then did they diversify into investments and passive income. The math is simple. If you invest $1,000 in the stock market and get a great 10% return, congrats, you made $100. But if you invest $1,000 in learning Facebook ads and land 2 clients, you could be making $5,000 a month. That's a 500% monthly return. Show me a stock that does that. But most people approach skills completely wrong. They dabble. They take a course here, watch a YouTube video there, maybe try something for a few weeks. Then they wonder why they're not making money. Learning a valuable skill is like going to the gym. You can't do it casually and expect results. You need volume and consistency. Ridiculous, obsessive volume. Take sales, for example. You know why so many millionaires started in sales? It's not because sales is special. It's because sales forces you to practice at volume. When you're making 100 calls a day, you're getting 100 reps. You suck on Monday, you're better by Friday. And after 6 months, you're unstoppable. Compare that to someone learning marketing by posting once a week on Instagram. Who's going to get good faster? This is what people miss. Skill development is just pattern recognition at scale. The more reps you get, the more patterns you see, the better you become. It's not about talent, it's about volume. Simple. Look for skills that directly generate revenue. Sales, copywriting, paid advertising, coding. These aren't sexy, but they print money. That Instagram influencer teaching you about personal branding? They're probably broke. That boring guy who knows Google Ads inside out? He's charging clients $10,000 a month. And once you get good at one revenue-generating skill, something magical happens. You can stack complementary skills on top. Sales plus copywriting equals consulting. Coding plus marketing equals a SaaS business. Each skill multiplies the value of the others. But here's the harsh truth. Getting good enough to make real money takes longer than you think. We're talking 6 to 12 months of focused practice. Not casual learning, focused practice. That means doing the thing every single day, analyzing what worked and what didn't, and deliberately improving. Most people quit after 3 weeks because they're not seeing results yet. They hop to the next shiny skill, reset to 0, and wonder why they never make progress. Pick one skill. Give it 6 months of obsessive focus. Track everything. Get feedback. Iterate. By month 6, you'll be in the top 10% just because everyone else quit. And the best part? Once you've learned how to learn, once you've pushed through that first skill acquisition, every other skill becomes easier. You know the process. You know it takes time. You trust the journey. That's when you become unstoppable. That's when you can learn anything, pivot to any industry, adapt to any market change. Because while everyone else is worried about their job getting automated, you know you can just learn the next valuable skill. But none of this matters if you blow all the money you make. Which is why Principle 3 might be the most important one. Let me tell you about the dumbest smart people I know. They make $150,000 a year and live paycheck to paycheck. They drive BMWs they're still paying off and live in apartments that cost half their income. And they honestly believe they're doing well because they make good money. Meanwhile, I know people making $60K who have $100,000 saved. The difference? It's not math, it's psychology. See, getting rich isn't about how much you make. Never has been. It's about the gap between what you make and what you spend. And that gap? That's 100% controlled by your psychology. Most people play defense with money. Rich people play offense. Let me explain. Defensive money thinking sounds like, I need to save for emergencies. What if I lose my job? I should be responsible. And look, having an emergency fund is smart, but that's not how you build wealth. Offensive money thinking is completely different. It's, I'm saving to deploy capital when opportunities come up. I'm building a war chest so I can take bigger risks. Every dollar I don't spend is ammunition for my future. You see the difference? One is scared. The other is strategic. Now, before you go all out with your money, let me be clear. You still need a margin of error. You need that emergency fund. As I explained in my video about wealth secrets from The Psychology of Money, which is linked in the description, having a safety buffer isn't being scared, it's being smart. The difference is what happens after you have that buffer. Most people stop there. Winners use it as a launching pad to take calculated risks. Let's talk about lifestyle inflation, the silent killer of wealth. You get a raise from 50K to 70K. Normal people think, great, I can finally afford that nice apartment. Rich people think, great, I just gave myself a 20K per year investment fund. This is why doctors and lawyers are often broke. They make 200K, but spend 190K because they think that's what successful people do. They're so busy looking rich, they never actually become rich. I'll let you in on a secret. Actual rich people are cheap as hell. Not with everything, but with most things. They'll drop 50K on something that makes them money, but won't pay $8 for airport coffee. Why? Because they understand opportunity cost. Every dollar you spend is actually $3. Here's what I mean. That a $1,000 you dropped on a new iPhone, it's not just $1,000. If you invested that money and got 10% returns for 10 years, it would be worth $2,600. So you didn't spend a $1,000, you spent $2,600 of future money. Still want that iPhone? This is how rich people think. They see money in terms of what it could become, not what it is today. Once you start thinking this way, unnecessary spending becomes physically painful. But here's where people screw this up. They go too extreme. They become those weirdos who reuse paper towels and never have any fun. That's not the point. The point is to be intentional. Spend money on things that either make you more money or genuinely improve your life. Skip everything else. That usually means saying yes to courses and coaching that teach high-value skills. Yes to a gym membership that keeps you healthy. Yes to living somewhere safe with a short commute, even if it costs a bit more. But it also means saying no to expensive cars, watches, and clothes that are just for show. No to eating out because you're too lazy to cook. No to those subscriptions you forgot you even have. Every dollar should have a purpose. Either it's making you money or it's making your life genuinely better. Everything else is just noise. The 90-day money challenge that changed my life. Track every single dollar for 90 days. Everything. That coffee, that Uber, that subscription you forgot about. Use an app, use a spreadsheet, I don't care. Just track it. What you'll find will shock you. Most people discover they're bleeding $1,000 to $2,000 a month on absolute nonsense. Stuff that adds zero value to their life. Then ask yourself one question for every expense. Does this make me money or make me genuinely happy? If the answer is no to both, cut it immediately. Here's the mindset shift that matters. Stop thinking of saving as deprivation. Start thinking of it as loading ammunition. Every month you should be stacking cash, not because you're scared, but because you're preparing to strike. When that perfect opportunity comes, maybe it's starting a business, maybe it's investing in a down market, maybe it's taking 6 months off to learn a skill, you'll be ready. Everyone else will be stuck watching from the sidelines because they spent their ammunition on brunches and bar tabs. The goal isn't to save forever. The goal is to save until you have enough capital to make real moves. For most people, that's $10,000 to $25,000. Enough to start a real business, enough to take real risks, enough to change your life. But once you start making real money, saving alone won't cut it. You need your money to work as hard as you do. Remember earlier when I said you should work 72 hours a week? Well, here's the part where I tell you why that's both right and wrong. Look, hustle culture is going to burn you out. But lazy culture is going to keep you broke. The answer isn't choosing one or the other. It's understanding when to push and when to pull back. The truth about balance nobody wants to admit. Balance doesn't mean working 40 hours a week and calling it good. Balance means going all out for focused periods, then strategically recovering. Think of it like an athlete. They don't train at 50% all year. They go hard during training season, then recover, then compete. Your 20s and 30s should work the same way. Sprint for 6 to 12 months, scale back for a month or two, then sprint again. This isn't burnout, this is strategic intensity. People don't burn out from hard work. They burn out from hard work with no purpose. When you're grinding 70 hours at a job you hate, with no end in sight, for goals you don't care about, yeah, that'll destroy you. But when you're working 70 hours on your goals with a clear timeline, knowing exactly why you're doing it, that's not burnout. That's building. The difference is having an exit strategy. Every sprint should have a defined endpoint. I'm going hard for the next 8 months to save 30K and launch my business. Not, I'm going to grind forever, because that's what successful people do. Every 6 to 12 months of intensity needs 2 to 4 weeks of real recovery. Not checking emails from the beach recovery. Real recovery. Sleep 9 hours. Read fiction. Exercise. See friends. This isn't weakness. This is maintenance. You wouldn't drive a Ferrari at redline for 10,000 miles straight. Don't do it to yourself either. You know you're pushing too hard when everything starts feeling urgent all the time. Like every email is a fire, and every decision is life or death. When you can't remember the last time you actually enjoyed something instead of just grinding through it. When your friends stop inviting you to things because you always cancel. and your family conversations are just, yeah, still busy. When you're making stupid mistakes you'd never normally make. Forgetting meetings, sending emails to the wrong person, leaving your keys in the fridge. And the big one. When you catch yourself fantasizing about just walking away from everything, not because you want to pursue something better, but because you just want it all to stop. When you see these signs, it's time for a strategic pullback. Not a permanent one, a strategic one. Take 2 weeks minimum. Come back recharged, and you'll accomplish more in the next month than you would have grinding through the burnout. Stop thinking about work-life balance as a daily thing. Think about it over years. Some seasons of your life will be 90% work, 10% life. Others will be 50-50. That's not just okay, that's optimal. The goal isn't to live a perfectly balanced life every day. The goal is to build something great while still being a functional human being at the end of it. Because here's the thing. Getting rich while destroying your health and relationships isn't success. It's just a different type of failure. But staying broke because you're afraid to work hard, that's failure too. The sweet spot is sustainable intensity. Periods of going all out, followed by strategic recovery, all aimed at a clear goal. That's how you get wealthy without losing yourself in the process. Remember, you're not trying to work hard forever. You're working hard now so you don't have to later. But if you burn out before you build wealth, you'll be starting from zero again. And trust me, starting from zero at 35 is a lot harder than pushing through strategically at 25. Alright, let's bring this home. We just covered the 4 foundations that actually matter for building wealth in your 20s. No BS, no gimmicks, just what actually works. These principles work. They're not sexy, they're not revolutionary, but they work. The question is whether you'll actually do anything with them. Because information without implementation is worthless. You could watch 1,000 videos like this, but if you don't take action, you'll be in the exact same spot next year. Still broke, still frustrated, still watching videos about how to get rich. So here's my challenge. Pick one thing from this video and do it today. Not tomorrow, not Monday, today. In the meantime, watch this video on screen about the psychology of money. It goes deeper into the mental game of wealth building that we touched on today. Trust me, your mindset about money determines everything. You've got maybe 10 years where you can outwork everyone else. 10 years where mistakes don't matter. 10 years where you can build something real. Don't waste them. I'll see you in the next one.